is an intermingling of facets of issues that come about. And to look at it from a religious and racial lens alone is not enough. I think it's inaccurate. We don't stop anyone from expressing their views, but we know that this may cause undesirable outcomes. These are real signs and real symptoms of the effect of identity politics. If not careful, may just lose what we have built.
Welcome to the second episode of Gaza Through Our Lenses, 遥望加沙，我们的多元视角。
Or Gaza dari Lensa Kita. This is a dialogue series brought to you by Lianhe, Zaobao and Berita Harian. In our previous episodes, we had a meaningful conversation with 6 Singaporeans from different racial, religious and professional backgrounds, where they shared their personal thoughts on this complex issue.
To continue this conversation today, we are joined by Acting Minister in charge of Muslim Affairs, Dr. Faishal Ibrahim.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we will be diving into some of the key questions that were raised in the first round of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to getting your perspectives on these issues.
Yes.
So Dr. Faishal, are you ready?
Ready.
We will show you the first clip of the dialogue.
Yes, please.
Singapore should do more for Palestine. Those who agree, please step up.
We should show that we are serious about wanting to pressure the Israeli government. We should recognize the state of Palestine.
I think that was an issue that we should not be recognizing it because it will cause more problems for the Palestinians. Not recognizing they are already suffering. Recognizing what's going to change. Is it more suffering?
The burden of multiracialism sometimes I feel is on the Muslims. If there's a terrorist attack that has nothing to do with us somewhere, the Muslims are very, very quick and very okay with condemning, with distancing ourselves. Somehow, sometimes I feel that that is not reciprocated.
On the 22nd of September, Singapore made clear the conditions to recognizing Palestine. So, Dr. Faishal, can you help us understand the government's thinking over here? Is this move towards a conditional recognition a way to address those potential cracks that might come up in our society?
In Singapore, our foreign policy hinges upon the national interests of a multiracial, multi-religious Singapore within a Southeast Asia context. There are priority areas which include maintaining national unity, protecting security of Singapore, and also upholding international law. I received many responses and reactions. There are groups who say we should recognize, another one say no. But I think the large majority of these two groups agree that Singapore should put national interests first, because it's about protecting you and I as well as the rest of the fellow Singaporeans and the future of Singapore.
Do you see any risk of potential racial and religious fissures that is manifesting in our society because of this issue? Because this term, fissures, have been repeatedly mentioned in the ministerial statement.
These are realities that we need to understand and see it as something that may happen, and we have seen this in many countries. But the difference between other countries and Singapore is that we have a very, very big strength. That is how we have been living in this relatively cohesive community over the decades. Even though you can see things happening around the world, protests or instability, but this whole social capital that we have been building over the years that keep us together. Sometimes it moves here, moves there, but it continues to keep us together. And that has helped us.
Some might still not be very satisfied with the conditional recognition because there are calls for unconditional recognition or even immediate recognition. In the video just now, someone has brought up the point where what harm can a recognition bring to Palestine? What is your thoughts on this?
Different countries take on that stand because of different purposes, right? So Singapore also has its own purpose. We feel that that it is something that we have done it right at this moment. We have seen movement in the way Singapore took the stand, right? In the sense, now it's about when rather than if, and also the sanction. It shows that Singapore continuously watches this development closely. We find ways to play our part, contribute, and ultimately we want peace, save lives, and at the same time, Singapore continues to exist, to grow, and our interest continues to be taken care of.
In the dialogue, they mention about the responsibility of upholding multiracial harmony often falls on the Muslim community. So that is the perception. Do you agree with this?
There are times where issues happen or incidents happen externally that may affect a community more than others. Like in this instance, what's happening in Gaza, while it affects all Singaporeans, I think it affects the Muslim community more. You can't deny that. But there may be other instances. If things happen to the Chinese community, it may also affect here. So at the end of the day, I think the way to build the multiracial community, the responsibility is shouldered by every one of us. We need to work together, and to say that it falls on the Malay Muslim community more, I think is a statement that perhaps we need to dwell deeper into how each and every communities have attempted to play a part in this. But how each incident or issue rests or resonate with the different communities, I agree that it may resonate differently.
Over the last 2 years, there have been some debates about whether peaceful gatherings and events relating to Gaza should be allowed. With the conditional recognition in place, is the government looking at providing more space for public discourses or events relating to Gaza?
Yeah. We don't stop anyone from expressing their views. They can share their views on this issue. But we know that this may cause undesirable outcomes. I also learned from my counterparts who shared with me that they had events or some demonstration that they had wanted to start peacefully, but they lost control as to what happened after that. But that doesn't mean we did not do anything. Since the start of this incident, I've been reaching out to many groups. And just recently, I spoke to a group of activists who are very passionate about this. We share commonalities to get peace, to help those who were affected, and also think about what more can we do to continue this journey of getting more and more Singaporeans to help. So I'm very heartened that with all these safe spaces and opportunities that we can do together in a peaceful way, constructive and meaningful way, we have enabled to understand each other better. And they, in turn, understand why the government doing certain things, why we are putting national interest first. And at the same time, we will do more to help the people of Gaza. We have already got 10 tranches of humanitarian aid, right? More than $24 million. And we are also helping the Palestinian Authority to build up their capacity when they have the chance to really govern and develop Gaza when times are better. So this shows the intention of the government and the people of Singapore that we want to help, and we really want to ensure that they get peace, save lives, and be able to be independent.
All right, we will be showing the next clip. So the statement prompted here in this clip is the situation in Gaza is a major concern for Singaporeans, regardless of race and religion. So let's see the clip.
If you ask me whether it's a major concern to me, yes. But then the question asks me whether it's a major concern for Singaporeans. I'm not sure. And it also depends on the circles that we are interacting with.
So I'm not emotional about this. What should I be emotional about?
The question is, what do we do with the emotions? And I think that's a fair discussion.
Singaporeans are more concerned about the money part because of the war and the commodity prices are rising. So I think, in a way, we are concerned about the pragmatic issues.
The point about like the Muslim community being more concerned, I think that they have more access to the context. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're more concerned. Then the question is, how do we give this greater context to other communities, right?
So one of the things that we observed in our last dialogue is that there seems to be a varying degrees of concern on the Gaza issue within the Singapore society. So how do the government bridge this gap between those who are deeply concerned and those who are not so concerned and perhaps don't understand this issue that much?
Any human being who watch just TV or their social media and see the destruction that has happened to Gaza, the lives that have been lost, women, children, and the helplessness of the people of Gaza would feel something is not right. For the Malay Muslim community, the Palestinian issue is very close to our heart. I sincerely and really feel for the people affected by this. However, I also receive views from the other side, right? They feel, what Hamas had done is, trigger of this thing. But I must say, the large majority, right, feel that what Israel has done has gone too far. But what I feel very touched was that they look at the Singapore context. They say, whatever happened there, make sure it doesn't happen in Singapore. And I think that's the way we should move forward. Because after seeing what happened in Gaza, then Singapore reflect back, hey, let's value our peace and harmony. Let's value what we have.
So our participant brought up the point that perhaps Malay Muslims are more concerned because they are more aware of the context of Gaza. Therefore, there is a need to give greater context to the non-Malay Muslim community.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this view? How then should we promote this understanding?
To me, if you go to the basics of humanity, the extent of the devastation, without putting any context, would touch the hearts of many people, or everyone, I think. Because the extent is just too deep and the Israelis have gone too far. But of course, the appreciation as to why it happened, not many would understand. I think we are all being clouded by the death, the devastation. We want to go deeper into the cause, history that has come along this region. Also makes it very difficult for people to know and appreciate it. So that in itself presents like a stumbling block for people to understand it.
What are the dangers if the Gaza issues like Gaza are seen solely through a religious or racial lens?
It's a mix of issues. I think the cause is about land. It's an intermingling of facets of issues that come about. And to look at it from a religious and racial lens alone is not enough. I think it's inaccurate. So as such, it's important for us to engage the ground, to make them understand how and why. Even though we are living in a relatively safe and peaceful region, but you can never underestimate. That's what you can see in other parts of the world. We saw how the Ukraine and Russia and the issue of what's happening in Gaza. One should not go thinking that it will never happen to Singapore. So as such, it is something for us to protect, something for us to put that as the first priority in terms of interest.
All right, thank you, Dr. Faishal, for your insights. We will move on to the next clip. I feel uncomfortable discussing the Gaza issue with friends of a different race or religion.
But are we going to have that kind of conversation? Do we have that safe space? The topic itself can be emotive, so then it raises up different things because people can get agitated.
We are not just religiously, culturally, or ethnically diverse, but we have people with very different opinions. And I think it's about time that we acknowledge it, bring it to the surface, and we learn how to develop the muscles in order to deal with our differences.
Especially because it was actually raised as an issue during this year's general elections. It shows that it actually appeals to quite a broad audience among Singaporeans.
So we actually posted a question to the participant. How does the discussion on Gaza reflect the state of multiracialism and multireligiosity in Singapore? So can we also hear your thoughts on this?
We should never underestimate the effects of differences in a multiracial setting here. Any differences in our life will showcase a gap. And this gap, it can be a plus, right? But if not well taken care, it will make this gap deep-seated and become negative. Even though our intention is to have peaceful conversation. I remember a friend of mine studied overseas and then was sharing with me how a well-intended gathering turned nasty, whereby a group of students came, wanted to talk about the Gaza issue. And they said, yes, it will be very peaceful. So everything went well until one student stood up and said something offensive about the other side. So they went out, say, okay, don't tell others, but somebody leaked out that this person said this. The other side heard, they also wanted to organize similar one. Then they started to talk about what was said. Then the whole thing spiraled up to a very dire situation where schools were off, so they had to turn into online lessons. So we don't take things lightly, right? So we should never underestimate. It's important for us to continue to provide platforms in a meaningful and constructive way with the intention. One is to make people understand what the issue is all about, like what you shared earlier. Secondly, how we can work together to help, which we have done so. Third, we can also see what are the things that we want to play a part in this. Minister Vivian had committed that we will enhance our capacity building for the Palestinian Authority. We will also help them, hospitals, provide medical care. All these things will be coming, and we will do a lot more if the opportunity arises.
The Palestine issue was brought up in the general elections this year, sparking some debates online. So there were also warnings by the government in the recent parliament about Singapore being dangerously close to racial politics in the GE. Do you see this as a clear sign the government have to do more to address the Gaza issue to prevent it from boiling over?
I think key to this observation is that the whole society must embrace multiracialism and also must know some of the red lines. And this not only from the government, it should come from all the different political parties, all the different organizations and individuals. So we need to speak openly about it, right? And also engage the people why such things actually are dangerous signs and elements. I was on the ground. I did see the reactions from the people, both the different sides, right? And also how people responded to it and how the heart get tickled when you poke on things that are sensitive. I'm glad that PM came out very strongly, even in the middle of his campaign. After he came out, being on the ground, I saw how the whole thing moved, calmed down a bit, right? And over the next few days, it became better. So these are real signs and real symptoms of the effect of identity politics. And if we don't go down the line of identity politics, if not careful, may just lose what we have built. And that will affect the future of Singapore. So I'm happy that incidents like that gave us the opportunity to come together, to think about it and find that, no, this is not what we want. This will not be good for us. And I think all of us has a role to play in it. And this has no place in Singapore, today or tomorrow.
Before we end our show, you have seen the clips from our dialogue. So what struck you in the conversation? And if there is one thing that we should all take away from it, what should it be?
I see diversity. Diversity of worldviews, diversity of responses, and I see this diversity in the local setting as a strength. I'm happy that we are able to showcase the different views. And I know that out there are many other views that people may have. This is a sensitive issue and issues that touch many hearts. But one thing for sure, I'm really heartened to note that Singaporeans reject violence, killing, and also reject the notion of going too far in whatever we do, especially in harming, causing destruction, and so forth. And I think that speaks well about Singaporean, because as a multiracial community, society, we want to live in a peaceful and harmonious way. So this is something that we must continue to galvanize, work together, develop it.
Thank you, Prof, for your insights. And that brings us to the end of this special dialogue series. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Faishal,
you.
for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. For more on this topic, be sure to check out Lianhe Zaobao and Berita Harian's coverage on Gaza through our lenses series. We hope this conversation has been a meaningful one for you. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you, Dr. Faishal.
Thank you.